Fyre at Canada's Wonderland is an old-school aero looping coaster. This ride is quite literally dwarfed by the park's larger coasters, but it still has some redeeming qualities, especially if you're visiting on a busy day, which is most days at Canada's Wonderland. Find out why this is still worth a spin in this review. Fyre was an opening day attraction for Canada's Wonderland, opening with the park in 1981. The ride is located in the medieval fair section of the park, hence why Fyre is spelled with a Y instead of an I. Although it did have the more conventional spelling with an I from 1998 through 2018. Outside the name referencing a popular medieval beast, Fyre has no theming. I'm also not a big fan of this ride's appearance in general. The paint scheme looks sort of ugly. You have green track with yellow rails and dark purple supports. It just doesn't mesh together. The ride also looks comically small because of Leviathan, the park's B&M Giga Coaster. Of course, a 300 plus foot tall coaster will be taller than an old aero looper, but Leviathan's brake run is as tall as Fyre's lift hill. You're literally eye level with the element as you crest the lift hill. I do need to acknowledge though that this coaster used to play a much bigger role in the arrival experience. Before it was dwarfed by Leviathan, it was one of the most visible coasters from the parking lot, and it still is over by the employee lot, but not so much from the main one. Canada's Wonderland is one of the busiest parks in North America. It sees a higher annual attendance than even Cedar Point. The park is often a madhouse, so you often need to do a lot of waiting here. However, even on a busy day, Fyre is usually a near walk-on. I was a bit nervous to learn this coaster wasn't on Fastlane in my first visit, but it's completely unnecessary for this ride. Fyre was originally intended to run 3 trains, but the ride's short duration made it challenging for the staff to operate this ride without stacking. Therefore, Fyre has always run with just 2 trains, and the 3rd train was given to Bat, the park's Vekoma boomerang. Each train is comprised of 7 cars. Each car is 2 rows of 2. Like most aero loopers, you have an over-the-shoulder harness. I'm at the right height not to have issues. Shorter guests will have their ears in between the harness, making them susceptible to head banging. Taller guests will find themselves at a shortage of legroom, particularly in the back of a car. Fyre does have a redundant seatbelt, like most rides in the Cedar Fair chain, but it doesn't really impact the ride experience or load times in my opinion. As for which row you'll want, I like the back seat best for the extra oomph on the first drop. The front does offer a slightly smoother ride experience, which you may want to take advantage of if you're on the shorter side. Once dispatched, you round a corner and ascend the 78-foot or 24-meter tall lift hill. You hear those glorious aero anti-rollbacks and get a nice view of Leviathan likely zooming past you. Once at the top, you head down the first drop. It's a straight drop, but it's not quite as steep as some of the other aero loopers. You still get a nice pop of airtime towards the back, but it's not the abrupt or powerful ejector pop you get in their other rides. It's much milder. The pullout is really tight though, so you get blasted with positive Gs. You also experience some shaking here though. After a weird straightaway, you careen through back-to-back vertical loops. This is the best part of the ride by far. Both inversions are very forceful and pile on the positive Gs. The one downside is that the valley in between both loops has some noticeable jackhammering, which can be particularly uncomfortable if you're in the midst of a grayout. You then have a shallow ascent that leads into the far turnaround. This element looks really janky, but it rides better than it looks, and it actually gives some decent laterals. This leads into back-to-back corkscrews. They ride similarly to your usual aero corkscrews offering a dizzying rotation, but these ones are weirdly taken counterclockwise. I believe the only other aero looper with corkscrews going this direction was the now defunct Fyre. You then bank upwards into a brake run. Watch your head during this transition though. You don't really slow down here and then you crawl through the final helix. It is completely forgettable. It's smooth, but forceless. This element is the definition of filler. You then meekly crawl into the final brakes, although the banking does cut off early, leading to some faint laterals. This ends the 2,160 foot or 659 meter long coaster. It is a short one, but the ride just doesn't have enough gas left to do anything else. So what would I rate Fyre? I would give this aero looper a 5 out of 10. The ride is okay. It's not one of the strongest aero loopers, mainly because of its length, but it does have some redeeming qualities. It's smooth enough for its age, and the inversions are fun, particularly those back-to-back vertical loops. Are there better coasters at Canada's Wonderland? Undoubtedly. But this is still well worth experiencing, mostly because of the wait, or lack thereof. It's refreshing being able just to walk right onto this coaster after likely waiting in a lengthy line for one of the B&Ms. So those are my thoughts on Fyre at Canada's Wonderland. What are your thoughts on this coaster? Do you think it still has a place in the Cedar Fair Parks lineup? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.